Welcome to Mr. R's art class. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thumbs, subs, and ring that bell. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a value scale using tints and shades. So up here we have a shade. Every time we add black to a color, that's going to be a shade. Down here we have a tint. Anytime you add white to a color, we're going to have a tint. Okay, so we have shades up here and a tint down here. Alright, so what you're going to need is a value scale with rectangles on the top and rectangles on the bottom. Each rectangle is going to be its own different color, its own different shade, or its own different tint. So depending on if we're going to add black to it, that'll be a shade. If we're going to add white to it, that'll be a tint. So on the top here, we're going to have the black and the red. Down here, we're going to have the white and the blue. So what you're going to need for this video is a cup of water filled halfway up, and a tray, your value scale, a brush, and some paper towels. So I'm going to fill in a couple of these just to give you an idea of how this actually works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my color to the middle of my tray. So for this one, I'm going to start with the red in the middle. So red is in the middle there. I'm going to go ahead and mix that up. And I'm going to get any extra paint. I'm going to go against the edges here to help apply the paint evenly to my brush. And then this first so I'm going to mix this paint up evenly on my brush here. And I'm going to have my regular red here on the right hand side, and as we go this way towards the left, it's going to be black. So red, just regular red without any black added to it, it's going to be over here. If you have to rotate your paper, go ahead and do that. So regular red, it's over here. And if you have to rotate your paper, rotate your paper. If it makes it easier, you can also flip your brush. Sometimes you have some more paint on the back of that. Flip your brush if you have to without even loading it. You want to do this as neatly as possible. Try to stay within each rectangle. Try not to go outside of each rectangle. Right, so there's our first rectangle. Then we need to add a little bit of black into this middle part here. So if you have that regular shade, you don't want to contaminate your black paint. You want to wash that red off. Go against the bottom of your cup to help get that paint off. Go against the edges of your cup if you want to get that paint off. And we're going to need a little bit of water to kind of help mix this black paint up. So I'm going to leave a little bit of water. I want to get that red paint off. So let's grab our paper towel, get that red paint off. If your water gets too dirty, you can change it out if you like. And I'm going to mix up that black paint. I'm going to mix it up and then I'm going to wash my brush off. Just because if I put this whole brush inside of that black paint like this, it's going to be too much black paint. So I'm mixing up this black paint, washing my brush off, and then reloading it with a little bit of black paint. You don't need too much black paint. Alright, trying to get all this excess paint off. Trying to get all that extra. So I have a lot of black paint here. That's too much if I just mix it right in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash this brush off. Wash, wash, wash. Go against the bottom of your cup, the edges of your cup. Maybe get the extra water off. Dry your brush off as best as possible. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the bottom of my brush, just the bottom of my brush. Right, I'm not mixing my whole brush in there, just the bottom of my brush. And then I'm going to mix it inside that red shade there. Alright, so you can barely tell that the color changed, but gradually it's getting darker. So I'll do a few of these here. You want to mix it all the way up, mix all that red up there. So anytime you add black to a color, that's going to be a shade. Anytime you add white is going to be a tint. So rotate your paper if you have to. And you might not be able to tell right away. You might have to dry for you to be able to tell that some of these shades are different. Rotate your paper if you have to. You can do this a lot slower than I am. Flip your brush if you have to. Get some other paint on the other side. Rotate your paper if you have to. Alright, so there's the second shade there. So it's getting a little bit darker. You can actually tell. And again, that wasn't that much black paint on there. So washing my brush off. Go against the bottom of the cup, the sides of your cup. Get your paper towel. Get that extra red paint off, or that old shade off. Getting a little bit of black paint on the bottom. Again, just the bottom. I'm not scooping this up. Just the bottom of my brush. Just the bottom of your brush. And mixing it in. So you could see that just that little bit of black paint there is going to change that red color, that red hue, into a darker shade. So you can still kind of see some of that black swirl inside there. You want to mix that up as best as possible. You can even get a little bit of water that helps kind of mix that in. And again, if your water is getting too dark, you want to clean that out. You shouldn't see any black swirls or lines inside of your paint. Get all that extra paint off your brush. Go against the edges. That's why I'm going against the edges here, to get that extra paint off. And there is going to be our next rectangle here. Rotate your paper if you have to. So it's getting darker and darker. Rotate your paper if you have to. Flip your brush if you have to. And there you go. Alright, so these are, and you would keep repeating the same process all the way down here until it gets black on the left hand side. Again, we started with regular red. We started adding a little bit of black paint to make this a little bit darker. Eventually, it's going to end up looking something like that there. So next we're going to go ahead and do the bottom here. We're going to be adding white to the blue to make different tints. So go ahead and wash your tray out. After you get done with this top part up here, wash your tray. Use the sponges. Clean your tray out with the sponges. Make sure they're as clean as possible. Go ahead and So go ahead and wash your tray out. Use the sponges to wash your tray. So go ahead and wash your trays out once you get done with this top part up here. Use the sponges to make sure your trays are clean as possible. Change your water out in the cups. Maybe even grab a new paper towel. And we're going to go ahead and get started on this bottom part here next. I'll do a couple different examples. If you have any questions on this top part up here, go ahead and let me know. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And feel free to watch any of the other related videos.